Oh, we got a good one this weekend, guys. Live from Ontario, we got Sean Strickland bringing the belt, putting it up against Dricus Du Plessis. My partners over at DraftKings Sportsbook have got one incredible deal for all new customers. Download the DraftKings app right now, sign up using the promo code Sonnen, and you can bet just $5 on any of this weekend's fights. You will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Combine multiple bets together from the same fight, like number of rounds, method of victory, for an even bigger payout. Remember, DraftKings is the only place where you can bet same fight parlays. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. So click on the link below and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. What is going on here with Strickland and Du Plessis? This is one of the most amazing things. This is one of the incredible studies in a microcosm of the world of marketing. If you ever take a marketing class, you're going to hear all of these great ideas, and it's always somebody that has reworked reality. Any business book you ever read, you'll always read from the successful entrepreneur. He always knew. Everybody told him it couldn't be done. Nobody believed him, but he knew. You'll always hear that. There's never been a business book to be written that doesn't have that element. And it's just a reworking of history, right? Some people say luck isn't real. Luck's very real, but what does luck mean? Luck is very real, but what does it mean? That's where you could debate a little bit. And the harder you work, the luckier you get, right? The more opportunities you get to fall into this little wonderful thing called luck. Luck is not magic, by the way, but it is very real. And you get somebody that goes out there and tries, they create an environment, put themselves in a position to find success. A lot of times they will. And then they'll rework it in the book. They'll rework it to tell you they always knew. Marketing is the same way. But one of the great things about marketing that you will learn very early on is just because something is true today doesn't mean it will work tomorrow. But adversely, something that fails today could work tomorrow. So that's where marketing gets to be very interesting. That's where you have classes. That's where you have seminars. That's where you have growth and you keep learning. It's not something that's done, that there's a book, understand this book, and go out and do it. It doesn't work that way. Could fail, different time, different place, different location, and it hits. And I'm just telling you, for right now, the microcosm under, let's look at the B corner, okay? Let's look at Dricus Du Plessis. I heard of Dricus Du Plessis just prior to the December 10th card of 2022. I do not remember dates and venues. I'm not a nerd. Right, but in all fairness, even my own. I've had people I got to fight at Madison Square Garden twice, once in a headline main event, sold out arena. That's really cool because people think that it's cool. I felt nothing. Not then, not before, not after. Had that happen or not happen in my life, nothing changes. I don't say it to at all be a condescending prick. I'm just sharing. I said other things on my mind. Fighting was very stressful for me. Some people say it's invigorating and they love it. I don't believe those people. I think that they're lying. But either way, I don't lie, at least not when I'm speaking to you guys, and I'll tell you, it's just very stressful. So I don't remember dates and locations. I don't know what number I fought Anderson at, or the other Anderson fight, or a Jon Jones fight. And none of that's a joke. I do not know. So when I can provide for you a date for somebody else, Dricus Du Plessis, when I can provide for you December 10th of 2022 at T-Mobile Arena, when I can do that, it's a very rare case. Like, you want to know a UFC that I know about? I know about UFC 151. That was supposed to be Jon Jones versus Dan Henderson. Then it was scheduled to be Jon Jones versus Chael Sonnen. The entire card was canceled. It is the only UFC to this day that was canceled. Never happened before, so I happen to remember that. So when I tell you that Dricus Du Plessis on December 10th of 2022, it's the first time I ever heard of this young man. And I heard about him because he had a fight scheduled, and it was an undercard fight. And he'd fought in the UFC a number of times, apparently. And he was very good. He had some people that really believed in him. He had some training camps and some workouts. He was one of those guys, right? If you live in this space for a small period of time, you'll have touched everybody. And there might be a degree of separation, and there might even be 3 degrees of separation, but there won't be any more than that. And speaking of degrees of separation, there was none. It was directly Du Plessis, Israel Adesanya. It was a training room. But Dricus said he got the best of him. And he said it very politely. And Izzy talked about that same workout, and Izzy said Dricus got the best of him. That was a grappling situation or whatever, but I'm just sharing with you. Not very many guys get over on Adesanya, and Adesanya was a very clear champion at the time of December 10th, 2022. He had already lapped the division. Clearly. He was getting ready to go around the horn for a third time. Right? Robert Whittaker versus Du Plessis versus Izzy was talked about then. It was they were getting ready to go for the third time. That's how dominant he was. And here you have Dricus, who felt him one-on-one, says, man, I did better than him. And you got Izzy, who didn't like Dricus, but told the truth and say, hey, did better than me. It was a grapple, so I don't want to get this whole thing. I'm just sharing with you. So imagine that if you're Dricus in that situation, and you're on the undercard. And the guy they're looking to build to fill into a spot of being a potential contender is named Bo Nickel, who's never fought in the Ultimate Fighting Championship before. The organization that you're in and that you have fought multiple times and you've won. And somebody who's never done it in your same weight class is getting brought in and he's put over you. Bo was going to go to the main card and Dricus was going to be on an undercard. And Dricus spoke up. He said, this isn't right. And he said, and Dricus, there's the whole reason I listened, is Dricus said, I don't want to take from you, young man, talking to Bo Nickel. I don't want to take from you because you're the same as me. You're just a hungry guy trying to get his comeuppance. And somebody saw something in you they didn't see in me. Now, it doesn't change my envy, but I don't want to take something from you. I'll just fight you. My opponent doesn't get me to the main card, but Bo, neither does yours. Your opponent should not be on the main card. We can all agree on that. I should be, and you are. So I'll just fight you. And this is where he now has my attention, because Bo Nickel killed Dricus Du Plessis. He will show this young, mouthy guy named DDP that the card placement was the way the card should have been placed. But they didn't do the fight. So they weren't apparently as sure about that as I make it sound. Bo Nickel came off the card completely. Dricus goes on to the card, opposite Darren Till. Beats Darren Till. Dricus then draws into a number one contenders match. His very next fight is for the number one contender. He was not scheduled to be on TV. He got himself on TV through Twitter. Arguing, speaking up, showing the courage. Told Bo Nickel, I don't need a nod in front of you. I'll just go ahead and fight you. That was never answered for. Now, it wasn't answered for because Bo got hurt and Bo already had a different opponent. I'm not calling Bo out for that. I'm telling you the story the way that it happened. If Dricus calls out Bo and Bo does not respond, Dricus just beat Bo. That is how that is viewed. Whether you like it or not, whether you view it that way or not, I think you probably do. But I'm just sharing with you that these aren't Chael's rules. That's the way this works. All politics works that way. All politics. If you are ever hit and you don't hit back, it is now accepted as truth. It's accepted that your opponent said something that was truthful. So, Dricus draws into a number one contenders match, and the crowd was happy to see him do it. But we gave him no shot. He was a 3-1 underdog. And he went out and he did what nobody else has ever done. He beat up Robert Whittaker. I believe he beat up Robert Whittaker worse than Izzy did the first time. Robert Whittaker's only had his ass whipped twice. He's lost fights, but he never had his ass whipped. He's had his ass whipped twice. The first time with Izzy and then this fight with Dricus. And the question just starts to be, well, is Dricus that good? Or did he just look that good in that night? I don't know the answer. None of us do. Robert Whittaker doesn't know the answer. So you got to get back there and try again, right? Like Robert Whittaker's as good of a fighter as I've ever seen. The Dricus that Robert had to fight, that specific Dricus, there are not 5 middleweights in history that could beat him. There might not be any. That might be the greatest middleweight to ever do it. It might be. I can't go that far. But there aren't 5 men that could beat that Dricus. Now, is that the real Dricus? Is that the Dricus that can show up time and time again? Because there wasn't a lot of pressure on him. He was a 3-1 underdog. That helps, not hurt. That helps you. It was scheduled for 3 rounds. It's not a 25-minute situation. That helps you. It doesn't hurt you. That helps you. So is that the Dricus without those benefits that can show up and do it again? And then you have Sean Strickland, who they've tried to cancel, tried to deplatform him. They tried as recently as this morning. And it was a really hard thing for me to see. It was really hard. Right? I don't know if Sean Strickland will see his own story this way. Like, I don't know that Chael even fits anywhere in the timeline of the Sean Strickland story if he's the one telling it. But it does the way I tell it. And there was a time, there wasn't anybody that believed in this kid except for me. I called and I spoke directly to Joe Silva about Sean. Sean doesn't know that. And I tried to get that good word in. And Joe Silva ended up leaving. And I said, who do I need to talk to about Sean? And Joe says, I've already passed it. He said, so it's already been passed. Your guy's not going to get lost in the shuffle. And I know when I was in the room with him every day, I grabbed him every day. And I grabbed him every day because nobody else did it. Nobody else grabbed him because they didn't believe in him. They didn't see what I saw. And I watched him trying to come up. And he didn't even know how he's going to get to practice. He didn't have money to put gas in his car. He had a girlfriend that supported, he had people that liked him. But they would provide a ride so he could get there, and he worked his ass off. I knew this guy was something special. I only say that because to see him try to be canceled, to see somebody try to cancel Sean, not understanding the plight that he had, not understanding how hard that is, not understanding what it's like to be a child with a dream in the tough guy business, which, when you hear about something with politics, what you're hearing about is a popularity contest. That's what that means. Well, there's a lot of politics involved. It means there's a lot of popularity involved. How are you going to have a popular kid when his parents treat him the way that they did? He had nothing. They left him with nothing. He has to figure out all on his own. Oh, by the way, he did. He did. And then he treats others around him nicely. Sean Strickland could have ended up in prison, and nobody would have questioned it. And go, hell yeah, that was a rough hand he got dealt. That was the hand of an inmate. That's what he got dealt. He's where we thought. But he didn't end up in prison. He ended up in main events, and every now and then with those main events, he gets a microphone in his hand because of something that he does within a microphone. He said, let's cancel this guy. Let's get rid of him. Why wouldn't you just try to get him beat? I mean, anybody in any other sport that did something that you didn't like, you would boo, and then you would hope that they got beat. But Sean Strickland, there's a new set of rules. Let's take that opportunity from him. Let's take it all from him. Let's make sure that we make him the dog crap on the bottom of the world's shoe, exactly where his own family tried to put him. To hell with the fact that he overcame it. He said something that hurt my feelings. Well, not mine. He didn't hurt my feelings, but he said something that could hurt somebody's feelings. Well, I don't know who. I can't tell you the specific person, but I would think that it hurt somebody's. It doesn't matter. Just take the microphone from him. Take everything from him. Send him back to the bottom. Oh, and by the way, keep him away from me because I can't defend myself against him. He's a legit badass that he got. I'd like to be a badass. See, that's the one thing that people always also do like to leave out. Like, they would like to be the tough guy. They'd like to be, but they didn't sacrifice the sacrifice that it needed to be the tough guy. They didn't do without. They didn't skip the dance. They did not go to the parties. They didn't lock themselves in training rooms and in dungeons and be told that they couldn't do it. They didn't forego dates and sleepovers and parties and all the stuff that it takes to develop the skill that Sean has. They didn't do those things. They wish they did. They wish they were the tough guy. They wish they could go out and do what they want, say what they want, but they can't. And why? Because they didn't sacrifice the same. They didn't earn it. So they want to have not earned it, not have done the hard work, not sacrificed, and still end up in a higher position, a position where you can take something from somebody else? It was a very interesting spot. Dricus Du Plessis got here because he would not be quiet, he would not be silenced, and he would not let anybody take something from him that he thought was his. Sean Strickland got here the exact same way. And now they got a sold-out live record, gate and attendance waiting for him in a country that is not occupied by either. That is a fascinating study in marketing, period.